Soccer program or soccer pro league team.
Pro Arena Soccer.
There you go.
Thanks for having me, Steve. Appreciate you.
I tell you what, thanks for coming. I know you're busy and you're doing so many things. And first of all, congratulations on being the new executive director. I know you're filling a lot of shoes with Fred Holbrook, but I tell you,
those are big shoes to fill for sure.
You know, he's done so much, you know, for the community. I just wanted to take a few minutes to say. He's going to be missed, but I know one thing about Fred: he'll answer his phone when you call, and if you have any questions, he's the first.
He has been great about that. Yeah, absolutely. So any question I have, call me. Yo, Fred, what did you do with this? Oh, okay, there it is.
Back to the New Mexico games, kind of with COVID. You know, there's some things that are not being played, some things are being played. Just kind of give me a.
Yeah, you know, 2020 was a tough one for the New Mexico games. Obviously, we didn't have any event, as most of New Mexico didn't have any events either. But, you know, typically the New Mexico games runs 20 or so events, sporting events every year. And, you know, we just couldn't do anything. And, I mean, we run things for the New Mexico games from basketball to bowling to archery to, you know, to cornhole, which is new this year. You know, we'll talk a little bit about the new sports in a bit. But, I mean, 20 sports, and unfortunately 2020 just did not happen for us. And so it was tough. And it was a little unfortunate that 2020 ended the way it did because Fred was going to do one more year. That was Fred Holtberg's one more year. I'm done. This is my final year. I'm going to go out with a bang. And, you know, unfortunately, it just, he couldn't do that because of the fact that COVID took place and whatnot.
Well, I can understand why. It's because it's like starting over again. And
yes.
actually, truthfully, it was a good transition period for you to come in because it's all sports. I mean, you think about everything. It just stopped, and then now it's rebuilding, and it's a good time for for somebody to come in.
Yeah, you know, Fred put 30 plus years into New Mexico sports, into the New Mexico games, and I think that he's made a positive impact to the point where he provided opportunities for everybody in New Mexico, all New Mexicans, to become athletes, or if maybe they were athletes back in school, high school, and they're like, hey, I want to get back into basketball. Maybe they sign up for our basketball tournament or things like that. So Fred did a really great job of gathering people to bring together and form lasting relationships over New Mexican sports, amateur sports. So, you know, Fred has my utmost respect, as he does with everyone else that I know of here in the sports community. So, yeah, you know, Fred is a legend, as I call him, and you know, he's an amazing person, and we wish him well on his retirement for sure.
Well, you know, it's something that you just didn't step into. You've been a board member
since 2014.
2014. Mm-hmm. So you've kind of watched the process and you've been involved. So it's not like you're coming in blind.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Coming in, you've had some, you know, understood. But it's like being an assistant coach and becoming a head coach. It's like, wow, how much did Fred really get how did he get all this stuff done?
Yes. Oh, it's a lot. I'll tell you that much. I'm learning a lot. There's a lot of things that we are learning that, you know, what Fred did and how he got, you know, how he coordinated things from the National Congress of State Games, which the New Mexico Games is a member of, and there's 39 other states that are part of the National Congress of State Games, and they hold a national event every 2 years. And so learning about all that and going through the process of how Fred put it together, man, I mean, there's a lot of learning, but definitely gives appreciation to what Fred did as executive director.
Well, one thing that, you know, Fred did a good job of getting other people involved.
Yes.
And even in his speech when he did at that opening of the game, ceremonies, he's talking about his commissioners, the commissioners do so much because they have that passion for their sport. I'm assuming there's 20 commissioners.
Yes,
is that
we have
correct?
a commissioner for every sport, and our commissioners have been dedicated for many years and under Fred. And I think that having those types of commissioners that love the sport, that love the game itself, gives like you said, that passion gives the opportunity for athletes to compete, because without them the event really doesn't happen. And so so the commissioners come in, they're a big integral part of gathering the athletes, the teams, and coordinating the tournament, coordinating the process in which the event takes place. So every commissioner that we have has been amazing, and of course some commissioners have retired in the this past year or whatnot, and we've added new commissioners. And Quint Seckler, he's our swimming commissioner, he's our new commissioner this year. Things like that. Justin Hawkinson from the Duke City BMX, he's a new commissioner this year. So we've had a great experiences with our new commissioners, and of course our previous commissioners that are still holding strong with us. It's been great with them.
Well, I tell you, so dates. Tell me what's happening.
Yeah. So obviously the New Mexico Games kicked off on with our opening ceremony, as Fred Holtberg was our we called him the athlete of the year, the eons, so
there it is, right
the
there.
Forever athlete of the year, if you will.
That's right, at the Bloom Fiesta Park.
Yes.
Something that's it always seems to start right there.
Yes, and we did that on June 20th. So that's what signifies the kickoff of the New Mexico Games each and every year. And so this was a great way to send Fred off into his retirement, and and to showcase what he's done and appreciate what he's done. But we actually started our first event this was June 22nd, I'm sorry, and then on June 20th, on Sunday, earlier in June, was swimming. We had swimming was our first event, and we had 200 participants for swimming. And that was what's really amazing about swimming, is we couldn't believe how many people jumped on board in such short amount of time, but go to find out that there were no swimming events at all in 2020, obviously. And then even in 2021, none of the swimmers competed or anything like that. So for us, getting swimming going was a huge thing for the New Mexico Games, and it was a great way to kickstart. We also had on July 2nd, we had ninja competition. And if you've never done ninja, I mean, everyone's watched American Ninja Warrior, and I mean, it's cool. They're jumping, they're climbing, they're climbing up, they're doing obstacles that makes you think, man, they're like, are they Superman or something? And so you really get to see some really strong and amazing athletes with the ninja competition. And of course, part of the UNAA with Bob Clark. We had competitors from young, I mean 6 years old, all the way to 50 plus. So it was great to have that going. And ninja's fun. So if you've never done ninja before, definitely get into it. And then of course this past Friday we had Duke City BMX. We had BMX at Duke City BMX, and that was great. So here's a video of the riders. We had 70 riders, which is more from 2019. In 2019, I believe we had maybe 60 riders. But unfortunately, that last Friday night, it rained really hard, and we actually missed out on another 50 riders that decided not to come because of the rain. But of course, we finished off with 70 riders. It was an amazing event. I mean, you got kids young as 3 years old competing in BMX. I mean, it is the coolest thing you'd ever seen. And you wouldn't realize, you're like, how old is that kid? 3 years old? So that just goes to show you how the New Mexico Games is so diverse in ages with, competitors, whether they're 3 years old, all the way even into, into the 70s, 80s, and 90 years olds.
I tell you what, we're going to take a little break. We're going to go to the Dream Style Plays of the Week.
Sounds good.
And come back and talk more about the New Mexico Games.
Leaves it for Mathis. Yes. Hobson on the no-look to J.R. Giddens. Hobson on the layup. Wide open look at a 3-ball for wouldn't know what to do with that one. And there he'll finish.
Agree with you right there. Look at this. They just attack the basket.
Lozano graduate.
Back to back. Deep three. Yes. Jackson putting on the moves. Inside the feed to Pancake Dobbin. Left wing. He'll let one fly. Hey, he knew we were talking about him, didn't he?
I tell you what.
Inside to Devin Williams. Fade away. A long the outlet ahead. A nice touch pass to Mathis in transition. He's got a little bump there. Out to three for Perez. Yes.
We had Ed Nunez interviewing Ed Nunez.
There's McDonald for three. Fade away three. Yes. Pancake inside off the window. For three, no. That jam. Count. No.
Oh.
Fenton step. Roll. Didn't have an answer for JR there.
He used all of his energy in the dunk contest.
And Elijah with the two-handed stuff. That leaves Oklahoma State team. There's a long three from Jamal. Opposite leaves it for Gordon. You know, we go to the. And no Jackson. Tough off balance shot. Thought about it. Moves on Holyfield. He finished over Holyfield.
I tell you what, that was a
Legs, but it's a turnover. And I don't know what's happening.
There we go. Nobody shoot back on deep.
Titles are contending for now. And there's ahead of the pack here, though. Nobody back to guard, and there's the jam. Hobson at the top. He's going to take it himself. Off the window!
For your business or your home, Valley Fence stands alone. We're number one in New Mexico for a reason. It's the best fence you can own. Proudly serving New Mexico for over 50 years. At Valley Fence, the difference is clear. No fence too big, too small, or difficult. We handle them all at Valley Fence Company.
Hey, welcome back, Steve Davis Show. We've got, well, God, Andreas Trujillo here. I mean, I tell you what, the last second man coming in, he came running through that door. I mean, you've been.
I was trying to get that parking, man. I was trying to get parking outside. You know how hard it is to park downtown Albuquerque.
Well, Andreas, you know, you're taking this. I always ask this question, and I know you're going to be on this show every year for the New Mexico game. So, you know, as great as Fred, what are you trying to implement in your? You have your own way of doing things.
Yeah.
So what are you? Where are you moving forward?
So, you know, one of the things that we've, you know, as a board sat down after Fred retired, and I kind of came in and I was like, okay, so what do we do from here? Because I think Fred did a great job of establishing what the games is.
He set the platform.
Yes.
He set the
Yes, and so we thought about it, and what I think needs to happen is really utilizing the digital world as a next platform for the New Mexico games. You know, Fred was definitely an old school guy. You know, hey, paper waivers, paper forms, fill out your forms. Well, you know, one thing that we've done is we've implemented all digital registrations. So we don't do any paper registrations. We're all digital. So that means anybody from all over New Mexico can get online and register, and then they're in whatever event they are competing in. And so that's a big part of what we're doing. We're revolutionizing with, you know, obviously paper waivers. We're doing away with those. So everything's online, everything's done. So it's one-stop shop, and boom, you're good to go. You know, we kind of looked at how to expand on our games as well, and you know, we want to implement other sports that are popular now, especially esports. I think that's one of our biggest focuses for next year, is capitalizing on the esports, because it has grown so much. I mean, the NMAA, you know, in the last couple of years or few years, finally, you know, said, hey, esports is a legitimate NMAA activity. So you know, we're like, why don't we capitalize on that as well and get those kids involved on the New Mexico Games level? And as we see across the nation, we're seeing a lot of other states do esports as well, so this provides a national level competition if you were able to win at the state level. So Just really expanding to those who haven't participated in a sport is one of my big focuses as well. One thing that's been really great about New Mexico Games in the past 30 years is that there has been a lot of participation, and then of course there's been a dip a little bit because of club sports and things like that. That whether it's club basketball, club baseball, whatever club soccer, whatever it may be, New Mexico Games has had a dip in participants in the last maybe 5-6 years, but what our focus is getting new participants to participate in sports. So, for example, we had Ninja. Half our participants in the Ninja competition, Ninja USA competition, were newbies. They've never done Ninja before. They heard about it, they signed up, and then they go, oh, this is great, and boom, they participated. That's awesome because now they are exposed to that sport. BMX, we had several new riders that came in, got loaner bikes, and they're like, hey, I just want to try BMX. Let's do it. And that's the whole point of New Mexico Games is provide a platform for athletes to participate in. And that's one thing that the New Mexico Games has over any other state games. Most state games, whether it's Texas or Iowa or wherever it may be, they run their games in a weekend or a week period. New Mexico Games typically runs their season, so to speak, from May through November. So our focus, again, is just really to get new athletes to participate that have never tried anything before. Somebody's looking at, hey, I don't know, I want to try archery. We want to get them into that to try it. So that's a major focus for the New Mexico Games moving forward.
Well, I tell you, and this is a compliment to you, and I've known you probably about now 10 years or more. But is that you do a great job with the media and promoting and doing. I mean, I just looked at you got me excited just with those clips you just saw. I mean, it was enthusiastic. If you saw that, you're like, hey, I was upset that I didn't go see it, because I was like, actually, if you watched me, my eyes were glued to the set, watching the kids go on the bicycle and doing that, and that's something that using the platforms is something that you're really great at.
And you're right about that. That's definitely a leverage point we are using moving forward as well. Is using media, using social media as a vehicle to get the word out, to reach across each corner of New Mexico, to inspire those to jump on board and compete in the New Mexico Games, especially as we gear up towards getting things back to normal in 2022. In 2021, unfortunately, this year we have had to reduce our events to 10 events, and so it's kind of tough because the state's delayed reopening, and of course there's a little bit of lack of resources and venue right now, and so we've had to cut down basketball. We didn't have basketball this year. We didn't have track and field this year. So things like that, it has been real tough because people want to compete, but unfortunately due to the shortage of resources, it's been tough. But it's okay. We're getting geared up for 2022 with our normal routine of sorts. Sports.
I'll go back to my earlier statement. Perfect timing,
Yes.
to come in with 10 sports next year. You get to know how you can do it better for next year, and it's not overwhelming to you just to come in and do 20 sports.
Exactly, and it's great. Our board's been great. We have a great group of board members that have stepped up to the plate and really have helped facilitate the games and helped me facilitate the games so that we can move forward. We're even the potential to add a couple more sports as well that are brand new. Of course, we added cornhole this year. That's a new sport for us, and New Mexico Games have never had cornhole, but that is going to be huge on July 24th. That's actually our next event is cornhole on July 24th. And so, if you think you got what it takes to throw them corn bags and into play cornhole, sign up NewMexicoGames.org, because I mean it's all ages as well. That's what's really great about that particular event as well. So,
well, I'll tell you. Volunteers. I know it takes volunteers.
Yes.
How do you get involved?
Definitely the best way to do it is just go and send us a message on NewMexicoGames.org. I mean, volunteers really make a big difference for us because, I mean, us board members, we're maybe a group, I think we're a group of 9, and so when you're running the games, it takes a lot more than 9 people to run an event. So if you want to, hey, come in and see what the New Mexico Games is about. Maybe you're a student that's looking for a student internship. New Mexico Games welcomes you, so send us a message on NewMexicoGames.org because, it's fun to work. It's fun. It's fun to work, come hang out, and see what New Mexico sports is all about, because you do see a lot of great great athletes as well, competing at the kids, youth level, even adults competing. So.
Well, I think what I saw in everything was just the enthusiasm. One, everything's been shut down, and
Yes.
sports is, you're seeing it across the board. Just even the UNM and Chapman game just the other night was the first game that was played in the pit.
And over how many? Year and a half?
Year and a half, and Ed Nunez was on it, and he was talking about, man, can't wait till the season gets going.
Yeah.
Danny Gonzalez is talking about football. But you know what? We're going to come back and we're going to change the subject from the New Mexico games to the runners, and I know there's some new excitement for you.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Hey, welcome back to Steve Doe Show. I've got Andres Trujillo here, and executive director of New Mexico Games, but also the owner of the Runners. And what a year! You talk about all the things that go back. Let's just go back to when this. Let's just go back to last March.
Yeah, COVID hit us pretty hard. I mean, we were March. We played a game. I think it was like March 4th, and so we played a game at home. But then we had another game scheduled for March 20th, I believe it was. And it was our last home game, and it was our first responders appreciation night. Things were looking good. I mean, the ticket sales were great. Everything was big.
All your hard work was going.
I mean, and we were ready to go.
Second season, right?
It was our second season, and then boom, that's when all the COVID thing hit, and everything shut down. So obviously, every sporting event got shut down. We know that, and we've seen that. Whether it's soccer, basketball, baseball, you name it, everything got shut down, from high school, collegiate, pro, you name it. And so it was really an interesting experience, because we were like, okay, what's going to happen now? And of course they were touting, hey, 2 weeks and things might get back to normal. Well, everyone's like, all right. And then you kind of, weeks go by, and then of course, year later, nothing's open. We're still closed down, and so for us, it really hurt us in 2020, because we had such a great momentum going for the Runners. People were getting out there, supporting, excited, and then everything shut down. But 2020 was an interesting year, because no one knew what was going to happen, and of course, and I know a lot of sports owners empathize with this, because they don't know where their investment goes. Because as a sports owner, you're investing your money, you're investing your time to put out a product that people buy and support and get into. So when you look at what do I do, it's a wait and see kind of thing. You can have a plan, and I came up with plans A, B, C, and of course, as the process of the timeline went through, those would change, because ABC didn't work anymore. So then it was like, okay, do I come up with a D, E, F, when all the way through the alphabet? And unfortunately, here in New Mexico, I think we were hit with some of the hardest restrictions in the country. We were one of the last states to actually reopen. And so in 2020, we kind of just sat back and just said, hey, okay, we'll let the process take its course, and then we'll see what happens. And of course, New Mexico being one of the last states to open, the Major Arena Soccer League did have a season in 2020. They actually started their season in February and actually ran through, and the finals are actually this weekend in Wichita. So so there was a season. New Mexico could not participate. The runners couldn't participate because of the fact that we had no home venue to be able to play in and
couldn't practice.
or to practice. And so especially being indoors, I mean, obviously the restrictions throughout the year for outdoors were relaxed, but indoors were still very stringent. So so we unfortunately could not do a season, in 2020, or 2020 or 2021. But again, it's okay because 2021 of December we kick off our 3rd season, and we'll get things back up and running, and we're ready to go for that.
Well, I tell you, look at, I mean, again, your graphics, the things that you do. And I tell you, when I went out to the Gladiators game that one night, you're out there just
promoting.
You had your mascot there. It was pretty impressive.
We're as you know, New Mexico runners are 100% family owned and operated, New Mexican owned and operated. And what I mean by that is that we're actually the only higher level sports team in New Mexico that's New Mexican, 100% born and raised New Mexican, family owned and operated. No other sport can say that, and we can. And so it's between me, my wife, my mom, my sisters, my cousins. We're all one big family that works together on the runners every year, every season. So, when you look at, hey, who's that mascot? That's my cousin, right? And so, or my godson even. I say, hey, you want to make $20 for an hour? Hey, get in the mascot costume, and boom. And so we just want to translate that message that we're family owned and operated. We put on a family-friendly product, and so if you're a family, come out, support the runners. You'll have a great time, not just about the sports, but the entertainment aspect as well.
And dates, when is this going to all start?
So
I'm sure there's not set in goal. But
so actually this week we have league meetings in Wichita this week. So we will find out all the details, what new teams are going to be around. I mean, they've talked about that they've got commitments.
Because this league, the expansion is getting pretty big.
Yes. So they're expanding a lot in the East Coast. Of course, they're expanding or revisiting the re-expanding, I guess you could call it, in the West Coast, so like LA area, San Diego, and Vegas even. So so the league's done a lot of things in the off season, so to speak, with COVID. They've done a lot of working to get new teams, to develop the league, to make the league even better. And so we're just really excited to see what happens. But hopefully the target date for schedule release is September 1st, and the season will begin in December of 2021 and run through April of 2022.
Coaching staff still the same?
Steve Fumaletta, head coach. Yes, sir. He just had recently had some surgery, so he's been recovering from that. But once I get back from the league meetings, him and I are going to sit down. We're going to have open tryout plan.
Returning players? Or
we have a lot of returning players that have expressed their commitment. So our goalkeeper Casey Gasson, he's one of those guys that's like, hey, I'm coming back. I'm ready to go, and I've been working out. I'm ready. So we got a lot of guys that are ready to come back and play. But we're also excited to see who knew that we could bring on the squad to showcase some serious talent.
I'll tell you, you're a busy man.
Yeah, I am busy. It makes you go, oh man, what am I doing? But I love New Mexico. I mean, that's one thing that I do. I love New Mexico. I love what the potential New Mexico has. That, to me, is one of the most important things. New Mexico has such potential in growth in sports. That's my field, so I want to do what I can to help elevate athletes and elevate and provide opportunities for athletes to get to the highest level they can, to compete at the highest level they can, and of course bring everyone together through sport.
Well, I tell you, it's exciting. And say the rules. I mean, it's a quick, fast-paced,
high-scoring game. Yeah. So if you can imagine soccer on a hockey rink, that's what that is. You got turf on the ground, hockey rink. You got walls. You got you play off the walls. It's fast-paced. High scoring is one of my things. Outdoor soccer, maybe you get between both teams, 3-4 goals maybe. With indoor soccer, you're looking at anywhere from 15 to 20 total goals scored between both teams. So you got the fast pace, the excitement, it's 6v6. And so, it's one of those things where you go, you watch, you're never bored. It's super exciting, and it's easy to follow.
Well, Andres, thanks for coming on, and good luck to you, and it's great to see you.
I appreciate you everything, and NewMexicoRunners.com for more information on the runners, and NewMexicoGames.org if you want to register to play. Check out our events this year.